Okay guys, good morning. It's Eddie Case here. It's actually Monday the following week. The drywallers did stock the job on Friday and they started to hang it, and they got the majority of it hung. Well, I was told it's completely hung, so they must have had a pretty good sized crew down there. So we're going to go down, check out the drywall, just take a look at the job, and it's open. Okay. All right, yes, it looks like all the board is hung. All right, so you can see all of our doorways drywalled around there. There's our 6-foot door going into our furnace area. You can see all the access we have in there. We got about almost 2 feet here beside there, maybe a little more to go back in behind the furnace. You can see we can get our water heater out if we need to. Plenty of room to move around in here. We got our little 45-degree wall here with our sump pump in there. All right, you can see all of our recessed lights, all cut around in the ceiling. Our soffit drop down there, nice and clean, straight line. Our half wall opening, and that just looks good to me. Rather than just having a pole there and boxing it out and having, you know, just a couple feet there going over to that stairway that you could walk through. I like it better with just the big, you know, almost a 10-foot archway over here, and the little 5-foot section of half wall. It just makes it look interesting. It's aesthetically pleasing, it's more creative, and it doesn't look so much like a basement. Across the way there, we got our kids' closet all done. We're gonna have some access panels in here as well to get to some of our mechanicals that were in there. We had a clean out cap there that we're gonna have to cut into and put an access panel on. And underneath the steps, you can see we just still have an unfinished space here. All right, when we pass it under the stairs, that's just going to be a 36-inch door here that's going to go into this unfinished storage space back here with the sewage ejector and everything back here. We got to get some lights back here yet, but this will be all unfinished in here. You're still going to be looking at the insulation and the white wall wrap. It's all just as it was before we started. And since this is an unfinished space back here, I should point out that we did insulate the back side of the bathroom wall because this will be a cold space in here, and that's heated on the other side. So even though it's not an exterior wall, we treat the bathroom wall as an exterior wall, as well as this wall to the other side here, which borders the TV room. Even though it is not an exterior wall, the room I'm standing in, this unfinished storage area, will remain cold, so we needed to insulate that wall between this dead space in here, this utility space back here with the sewage ejector, from that family room TV area on the other side of the wall. And you can see over here on the wall, my drywallers have written speaker wire 9 inches down. You know, they've written instructions on here for my guys so they know where to cut out for the speakers. There's for our center channel there, and our right speaker, all marked with a little bit of writing there from my drywallers so that we know where to cut them out. All right, up overhead as well. You see they've got you know, it says 6 inches over. That's one of our rear ceiling speakers. So you always want to make a map so you know where to cut into later once you get the drywall hung, so you can find those wires. So it's looking real good. This is a really big area over here. This room here is about almost 15 feet wide, and from where I'm standing in the back side of it to the other wall is about 25, 26 feet. So really, really nice open family room / TV area. Then we got our little brew area back here, and you can see our plumbing coming through the wall there, where we're going to be hooking up our little brew sink. There's our return air up there. It's cut in for return air, but it's not connected. We don't connect the return air until after drywall's done. You can see on the other side of the wall there that there it is up there coming through. It'll just come across, and this is the return air here in the air conditioning. That's the feed side. This is the return side. We'll just cut a 6-inch boot into this side and just take a piece of flex right across and connect it, and that'll be our return air for the project. Now back in the bathroom you can see we changed the purple board purple board is moisture resistant board, and we like to put that in the bathroom because of the high moisture content when you have a shower. If it was just a powder room, you could use regular board, but anytime you're going to steam it up with a shower, you should use MR board, which is moisture resistant board. Sometimes it's purple. You can also get it and it's green. My drywaller, the supplier they use, just, you know, they got the purple version, but it's still MR board, moisture resistant, and that's what you use in a bathroom if you have a shower. Now, there's our plumbing coming through for our sink and our toilet cold water supply, our toilet flange, and our 4-foot shower. Okay, and as you recall, way back in the beginning of the video, when I was laying out on the floor for my 4-foot shower, I told you that I like to bring the wall out past the edge of the shower, at least 2 inches, 3 inches. That way they can get a piece of corner bead on here. The shower is 34 inches deep. You don't want to make your corner 34 inches because there's no way to finish it then. All right, so I leave the wall itself that I framed here stick out past whatever the depth of the shower is, 2-3 inches. So the shower was 34, so I think I came out 36 on this. It's 36 inches. Same on the other side. Brought that little wall out 36 inches because I need space to get my corner bead on and enough room for the guy to run his trowel down here and put the mud on when he's finishing the drywall. If that makes sense to you. All right, and there's our light over the shower. There's our air conditioning feed grate and our light fan combination all cut in around with the drywall. Our little linen closet, which is just going to have a little 18-inch pantry door on it, little linen door on it. But it's plenty deep. It's actually 36 inches deep inside, so it's a nice little linen closet to be able to get whatever they need in there. All right, our stairway all done. Opened up to the 6th step on this job. As you recall, back when we were framing it, we decided to go 6 steps on that because the ceiling height down here is almost a full 9 feet, so we want an extra step higher because we had the height. Normally, in an 8-foot basement, we'd only go 5 steps high, but with the 9-foot ceilings, I'll go 6 steps. And there we are, cut around our windows and our doors, and our exterior door is all cut around. And these are going to have real deep windows. Now, I wrap my windows in wood. I don't return my drywall in, around, and back into the window. A lot of guys do. They'll put corner bead out here. They'll put corner bead the whole way around, and they'll run the drywall right in here with drywall returns, as they call it in the business. I like to use wood return jambs, and then put the matching door casing, window and door casing around the outside for a real nice look. And then you got a wooden base instead of drywall. You can sit things in here, maybe some plants, or use it for whatever. It just makes a nice deep shelf. And these here, from the window out to the drywall here, this distance is 12 inches. So these are really deep windows. So really are going to look nice when they're trimmed out. Okay, so I told you I was going to bring you along the whole way through this project from A to Z. Now this is part 2. And we're going to go from the drywall of this job straight on through to the finished carpentry, the trim, right to the final nail in the wall, okay? I want to give you a complete overview of a job through the eyes of a contractor, the actual time frame of the project, like I told you in part 1, the whole way to the end of the project, so you can grasp all the different stages, and again, decide whether or not this is something you'd like to do yourself. All right, so I'm going to let the drywallers get in here, get this finished over the next 3 days, in and out with their drywall compound, their joint compound. They're going to finish all the joints, put all the corner bead on, get this drywall 100% done, sand it out and ready for paint. Then we'll come back, and I think the next phase is going to be the floor. Okay guys, I'm back down here on the same job today. Unfortunately, I missed the flooring day. All right, so I didn't get a chance to bring the camera down here and shoot this job with the floor going in. But the last time we were talking, we had just got done with the drywall. I told you we'd come back and they'd be putting the floor in, which they did in its entirety. They did it in one afternoon. So we're going to go down and look at the floor. We also had the trim and doors delivered down to the job. I've got my trim guy down here, Tim, and his brother. They are trimming down here this morning, so it's drywall's finished, ready for paint. Then the flooring, which took a day. Now, it may take you 2 or 3 days, might take you a weekend to put one of these floors in, but it's really not hard, and I do have videos for that and training for it at the Basic Finishing University if you want to see how they actually did it. But we're going to get down today, talk a little bit about the floor, how they ran the floor, what they did with the flooring to install it, to get ready for the trim And we'll talk about what's going on down here today with the trim as well with Tim and his brother. So let's go down and poke our head in. Try not to get in their way because they're busy down here today. I don't want to take up too much of their time, but at the same time, I want to keep you guys on the schedule with this job so that you can follow it completely from A to Z like I've been promising you. So let's go inside and take a look. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Not bad.
I'm shooting video down here today. You guys okay with that?
Okay.
All right. Do you need some lights?
There's some back here, all right.
Here's some more. Okay. All right, so you can see they got the floor in here. They got it all covered with trim and stuff now. But you can see it's in all the finished spaces. I did tell you guys that they prefer to put the flooring in before the trim. That way they're coming in here tight with their flooring through the door openings and whatnot. And when Tim starts setting these doors that he's preparing right now to put in the openings, he'll be sitting these jambs right down on top of the finished flooring for a seamless look. Okay, so we're not going to be undercutting any doors. No undercutting of the doors on this job. All the flooring is in 100%. Let me see if I can get some more lights on here for you. Okay, so we're back in the bathroom here. You can see that they already have 2 doors in. And you can see they're sitting right down on the floor. The lighting's not the best in here, I apologize. But you can see that because they ran the flooring straight through the openings, in between each room, they can just sit the trim on these split jam doors right down on the floor. And like I said, no undercutting. Same with the base trim. When they start running the base trim between these doors, they will be sitting the base trim right down on the finished flooring. And you can see that the flooring crew got the flooring just about straight up to the wall. And there's a little gap there, might be 1/8 of an inch, but it's so much easier to put the flooring in before you do the trim. Now, a lot of guys will say, well, I don't want to put the flooring in and all the trim, before I paint. I want to paint the walls first and the ceilings first so I don't get paint on the floor. That's fine too. Our painters, these guys are professionals. They don't mind the finished flooring being in here. They'll use some drop cloths and they'll just paint away in here, and they've got no harm done, no foul. But for homeowners, if you want to get your painting on your walls and your ceilings before you put the floor in, paint the walls and ceilings first, then come put your finished flooring in. But make sure you wait to start putting your doors and trim in to after you have all the flooring in. Okay, so all of our doors are split jambs. That means they come with the casing already on them. All right, we don't get these from Home Depot. We order these from a local lumberyard. And a split jam door is just that. Those jambs split apart. The door comes apart in 2 pieces. One side of the door goes on one side of the door opening. The other side of the door casing goes on the other side, and they just squeeze together right down this seam that you can see here on the side of the door here. This is the split seam. These 2 parts will just split apart, and it'll go in 2 pieces. Now I think Tim's putting one in over here right now. He's actually got the one side of that 6-foot door already in there, and here's the split jam for the other side. And they actually have a little bit of jam on one side, and the casing's already applied. The trim's already applied to the jam, and this will just squeeze right inside that opening right there where he's working over there. All right, they're the easiest doors in the world to install, in my opinion. Some trim carpenters don't like them. They prefer to use flat jams and shims and all that, but as far as speed goes and ease of installation, these are the simplest doors that you could be putting in if you're a novice and you don't do this all the time. Split jam doors are definitely the easiest to put in. All right, so these guys over the next 2 days are going to be installing all the doors. They'll go around and put all the doors in first. Once they have all the doors in, they generally put them all in first, then they'll go back and they'll start running the base trim between the doors, all right? Things like stairways, banisters, they'll also try to get this kind of stuff in before they start to put the base trim in, because the base trim will actually run into the stairway part. So doors first, and then they'll generally do the stairway banister caps and things like that next, and then before they run the base trim. The exterior doors definitely done before the base trim, because the base trim will be running into the door casing around those exterior doors. The windows can be done anytime. You can start with the windows or you can do them very last because they're not affected by the base trim. You can see down here on the floor, he's got a window box built already. You can see how deep that is. It's about 12 inches worth of jam material there. He builds it in one section on the floor. All right, so he's going to picture frame that and install it in one unit. But you can see how he's methodically going about this box. He's already pre-cut all of his pieces for the top and the bottom and the sides to picture frame this box. And he's already got the boxes built. Okay, so long story short, guys, on this particular job here, these guys are going to be working down here for about 2 full days. They're pretty quick. You know, they're professionals. They do it all the time. So if you're looking to do this for your very first time, plan on several long weekends and a bunch of evenings, okay? You're not going to knock this out in 2 days, obviously, if you've never done it before, but this is something that a homeowner could tackle in probably 2 weeks or so of evenings and weekends. Trim's probably one of the best parts of the project as far as I'm concerned. It's clean work, and it's really when you start to see the project come together. So you want to take your time and make sure each cut's right and work your way through it nice and slow, making sure you don't make any mistakes so you don't have to keep running back out to the store to buy more material, all right? And watch the trim and door installation videos over at the Basement Finishing University. They'll show you exactly how to do everything that these guys are going to be doing over the next 2 days, including those window boxes that he's building right now. We show you how to build those and case those. We also show you how to install these split jam doors in complete detail as well. Okay, so a couple more shots of this flooring here. You can see how they rolled right through this 6-foot door opening here with one full piece of the flooring. They're actually back into the unfinished area where the furnace is by a good 4 or 5 inches. Now they didn't need to come in this far. I mean, as long as you get in past the wall itself, you're okay. But since the piece was 5 inches wide and they needed to come back to here, they just let it run in here this far. Now what we'll do is we'll put a transition strip on here. We'll use a hammer drill. We'll put a metal transition strip down between the floor and the concrete so it can't lift up like this, all right? And that'll hold that, that'll pin that down. All right, so there's one example there of coming through a doorway. And over here you can see they came through just like I just mentioned. They just came through the 4 inches worth here and stopped right here on the back side of the wall, which is really all you need if you're going into an unfinished area like this is right here with the radon and the sump pump. All right, around all the walls you can see they're up tight. They pretty much ran it right up to the bottom of the drywall. Didn't leave much of a gap at all. If they did, like I said, it's only about, here you might have about 3/16 of an inch, but the trim will cover that. All right. So basically, you know, after you set all your doors and all of your base trim, you're done. There's nothing to go back and you don't even have to put shoe molding on if you don't want to cover any gaps between your base trim and the finished floor, because we put the floor in first. We could get that tight up to the drywall before the base trim and doors were set. All right, so again, the flooring in here took our guys, I believe they were in here last Friday. Not sure what day, but they were in and out of here. And one day they started at about 7:30 in the morning. They were out of here by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And Tim and his brother are going to be down here for 2 days. All right, it'll take the trim guys 2 days to set all these doors. And I think there's about 6 doors. They'll set the 6 doors. They'll put the base trim in. I think it's about 200 feet of base trim. They got a half wall that they have to cap over here with a pine cap and some trim underneath. Like I said, 2 windows, an exterior door. They do have a 6-step banister that they're going to be putting in. I've got a video that shows you how to put these banisters in complete detail over on my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, just look for the stairway banister video. It's about 2 hours long and it'll show you in complete detail how to do one of these banister rail assemblies. All right, they got to trim up both sides of the stringers. All right, they'll have a piece of trim that comes across the base, goes up, and then goes all the way up the steps to hide the top of the stringer boards. In the bathroom, pretty much got both doors set already. Just ran out the base trim. They will have to set the vanity because the base trim will will die out into the front and the side of the vanity. So the vanity will have to be set in here before they can finish the base trim. Okay, so 1 full day for flooring, 2 full days for the trim and doors on this job. That's 3 days for us. That might equate to 3 weeks for you as a homeowner. But this isn't rocket science. And it's something that you can do yourself if you follow along with the video series. There's no reason why you can't do your own trim in your basement project. Allow yourself at least 2 to 3 weeks to do what these guys are going to do in 2 days. Okay, now this is Lifeproof Flooring from Home Depot. I'm not sure what color Lifeproof Flooring this is, but this is a product that you can buy right off the shelf at Home Depot. It's around $3 a square foot, and it is a floating floor, meaning it doesn't get glued down. Doesn't get nailed down, it just floats. It just sits on top of the concrete floor, directly on top of the concrete floor. There's no backer underneath this or anything. It's just flooring product right to the concrete floor, right over the concrete floor. Really simple to install. I mean, there are a couple tools that you'll need to cut it in through these doorways and around different walls and things like that. There are some tools you'll need. There's some installation tools and rubber mallets and things that the guys use to install this. Like I said, my guys did this in about 5 hours. Now, it was a 4-man crew. They rolled right through here. So allow yourself a couple days if you're going to be doing this. You might be able to knock it out in a weekend if you have a helper. Generally it's nice if one person's installing and one person's cutting if you have a 2-man crew. That way you can keep moving. All right, so here you can see one of those window jambs completed. All right, he's got 4 pieces of 2 1/4 inch casing applied to the window box, and he's doing that all out here on the floor before he sets it into the opening. All right, so he's already got this 1x12 set to the depth that he needs for the window, which is about 12 inches. All right, so the 2 window boxes look like they're ready to go in. And there goes the other side of the split jamb on that door. Tim has just slid it inside, and he's putting it back together. The one piece just slides right inside the other piece. All right, you can see right here that this piece will slide right into the other side of the jamb.
Except for the fact, unfortunately, this one needs to be shortened a little bit.
That one needs to be cut a little bit, because we cut some off the door on the other side.
Yeah, with the basement floors, they often drop off like 1/4 of an inch from one side to the other.
Okay. All right, so he's going to modify the leg on that side of that jamb so that it fits in there. And that's all there is to those. A lot less work than, buying 5 packs of shims and shimming every hinge, like you'd have to do if these were flat jam doors. I think these go in twice as fast, if not 3 times as fast as a flat jam door. Because with the split jam doors, it comes with the colonial casing or whatever casing profile you want on your door already applied to the door. So all the trim work's really done on each door. You're just splitting the jam apart and putting it in. Okay, now you can see the trim guns that they're using do not have air cords attached to them, all right? No air hoses, no compressors. This battery operated DeWalt's. I think that's what, is that the 16 or
16 gauge?
16 gauge?
Yeah.
So these guys probably have the 18 gauge and the 16 gauge guns. And there's no more compressors running down here. No more air hoses that you got to trip over and drag around all day. These guns run about, I don't know, about 250, 260 bucks a gun, something like that. But well worth it. I mean, you figure if you buy a compressor and the hoses and all the other air guns really isn't much cheaper. And it's so much nicer working without the noise of the compressor and dragging the air hose around all day. Now you guys know that we just switched over from compressor and air guns for our framing as well. We switched over to the Hitachi guns. We showed you that in another video. If you're watching my YouTube videos, you know that we did a couple videos with the Hitachi guns. We're completely airless now on our trim and our framing. I can't remember the last time that we drove a compressor down onto a job. So, I mean, if you're looking to purchase your tools and you're thinking, do I want to use these airless guns that are out there or get the compressor, old school, I call it, old school compressor nail guns? telling you, there's nothing better than these airless guns. They're more efficient. I think they sink the nail heads better. I don't pull my punch out nearly as much as I used to sink nail heads using these air guns as I do, or as I did with the air. All right, the air equipment just seemed always, depending on the pressure in the compressor when you're shooting your rack, would leave heads sticking out all the time. Hardly ever see that with the airless guns. So if you're thinking about your equipment and you're looking for my opinion, I think you should go for the airless framing and trim guns. All right, so there you can see he's got one of the jams slid into the window. Now the 1x12, I believe this wasn't quite deep enough to make it the whole way back to the window, so we're going to use another transition piece of trim to close up the gap between the back of the jam and the window. Because I think we're going to have about ½ inch or so where it's actually not going to meet the window. You can see it right there. So he'll install the jam and then we'll use another transition piece to go around that. Okay, so I really wanted to get down here yesterday and shoot the floor and talk about the floor before they brought the trim in and had these guys in there. So I apologize, for running around, the noise, those guys, the guns and everything. Flooring was the next thing. Fortunately, I couldn't film it. I was on other jobs working, wearing the belt, so I couldn't get down here. But yeah, it took them a day to put that in. Tim and his brother will have all that trim set. I think it's just 6 doors and some base trim and a banister. A couple exterior windows and a door. They'll be out of here in 2 days. Once the trim's done, in 2 days, our painter's coming in, okay? He's gonna caulk and paint everything in place. All right, so the floor's in 100%. All the trim and doors are in. I mean, everything. Even the vanity in the bathroom will be set. The painter will come in. Again, he's a professional. He's actually my son-in-law. Aesthetic painting, Tim Harrigan. He'll be coming in with his crew, and they'll paint this. Now it'll probably take them 3 or 4 days to completely paint this out, all trim, all doors, walls, and ceilings. Once the painting's done, which again will take about 3 or 4 days, we'll bring our regular crew back in here, my brother and my regular guys, and then we'll punch this job out. We'll put all the the recessed light rings on, switch covers, switches, outlets, closet made, doorknobs, yada yada, all the final touches. That'll probably take us 2 days and we'll be out of here and on to the next job. So I'll bring the camera back down here probably in 2 days. We'll shoot the final trim. We'll take a look at all the trim, the doors, the banister, all the different things that Tim and his brother are doing. Hopefully we'll get to meet the painters, talk about the paint for a little bit, and we'll pick it up from there. So I'll see you back down here in a couple days. All right, so that wraps it up for today. How you doing, Gus? I had to leave old Gus out here for about 25 minutes there while I shot that video. But not to worry, she's running and the air conditioning's on. How you doing, bud? Huh? How you doing? Did you miss me? Huh? Keeping an eye on things? Good boy. Good boy. Okay, guys, we're back down here on this job. Our trim guys were in here. They got it all knocked out. We're going to go down and look at the finished trim project here. We also had the painters down here. They come in after trim, as we talked about earlier. Believe they're touching up down here today and they're trying to get out of here today. They may be down here, they may not be, but let's take a look at the progress here, talk about the trim and the paint and everything else that's going on here as we try to close this job out here this week. We're getting real close, so let's go in and take a look at where we are here today. Okay, so we're inside here. We do have a painter down here today, as I thought we might today. He's painting some doors here. He's got them all off the hinges. Got them all set up over there, and he's putting a nice two coat of white paint on those. So he's going ahead and cutting and rolling them in outside of the door frames. All right, it's a lot easier for a painter to not have to cut around all the door hinges and cut it into the wall and all that. When they can pull the doors off real quick and set them up like this, it's a good thing. So he's going to get 2 coats on all those before he puts those back on the on top of the jams here. Now the jams are all taped off here. Let me show you here. He's got the green frog tape there, painter's tape going down the sides of all the door casings so that he doesn't get any of the white paint on the green wall paint. So that makes his cut-in work a lot easier. He's also got all the base trim taped off. I'm guessing that's frog tape. It may not be, but I think it is. He's got that pressed down nice the whole way around there. So when he pulls that green tape off of there, I'll have a perfect cut-in line between the white trim and the walls. And they got kind of like a greenish, grayish color wall down here. It's really going to pop nice with this white trim on the doors, the base trim. It's all gonna pull off real nice with that stark contrast. Back here in the bathroom, he's got it all taped off. He's got the shower all taped off. Again, you know, professional painters, they know how to roll out some painter's tape, all right? And you can see he's got every square inch of this trim taped off, all right? Most professional painters want all the trim and doors installed before they get here. They'd rather caulk and cut in all the trim to the walls, all right? A lot of amateur painters will want to paint all the doors and trim on sawhorses first and then install all of the trim painted, and then they'll come back and touch it up. But your real professionals would rather have it all put together. When I say all put together, I mean every single bit of trim 100% completed before they get here, which was the case here. Our trim guy came in here and got everything 100% trimmed out. All right, all the jambs to the doors here. You can see we got this nice 5-foot door here. It's about 1 foot deep. These are really deep jambs, wooden jambs. All right, this is all one by Pine. He had all those extension jambs put in there and all the casing put on the whole way around those doors. All right, as well as the windows. And I showed you the carpenter actually building these jambs and casing these out before he set them the other day. All right, so he had all that installed 100% before the painter got here. All right, that way the painter could come in one time, fill all the nail holes, caulk it one time, paint it one time, and be done and be out of here. All right, that way the painter doesn't have to keep coming back. All right, so there you can see our 6-foot door going into our utility area there. Our 24-inch door going back into our sump pump all set in there. All right, we still have not installed our brew sink yet. We'll do that after the painter's gone. All right, so he's going to finish painting all the base trim, finish 2-coating those doors, and get himself out of here 100%. And then we'll bring in our punch-out crew. And when we get back in here with the punch-out crew, we're going to be doing things like putting the trim rings on all the recessed lights. Our electrician's going to come back in here, and he's going to do all the finish electric. He's going to put on all the outlets, all the plate covers. Our plumber will come back in, and he will put the brew sink in, and he'll hook up the brew sink pump that's going to be underneath that sink. He'll get all that plumbing work done, as well as in the bathroom. Our plumber will have to go in and set the toilet, the vanity, and we also have our plumber do like shower doors and things of that nature in the bathroom as well. So plumber's probably got 3 or 4 hours in the bathroom to set the toilet, the vanity, and the shower door. The electrician will finish up in here with, you know, all the switches and the outlets, the GFI receptacle. He's got a vanity light that'll be up over top of the vanity. We got the wire inside the wall right now. We'll cut that through the wall, put the vanity light on, hang the mirrors. And then our punch-out guys will finish out all the shelving in the linen closet. They'll hang the towel bars, the paper holder, and all that stuff, the towel ring inside the bathroom. And they'll punch all that out in a day and a half, 2 days tops. The air conditioning guy is going to come back in and put all the grates on, all the feed grates on, the return grates on, the HVAC. And also he's going to have to hook up the return air, which was not hooked up yet either. That's still not terminated back in the storage area, so he'll do that as well. So I'd say after the painter's out of here, what are you looking at, painter being out of here? Maybe tomorrow?
I'm going to be finished today.
Okay.
And then there's going to be touch-ups. So
Okay.
Another day.
Okay, about one more day?
Yeah, so I'll be out of here about 4 o'clock today, pretty much all wrapped up except for touch-ups.
Excellent. Okay, thanks, man. All right, so we got the painter, a few more hours in here, and then we'll bring our crew in for 2 more days, probably this week. It's Tuesday, We'll probably come back in here on Thursday and Friday and we'll finish this job out 100%. Okay, so again, we got all this Lifeproof flooring put in first before we put on any of this base trim, before the trim carpenter set any of the doors, before he did any of the jams, like this exterior door jam. That was all done. All that flooring was 100% done before any of that trim started. Again, our sole purpose, our madness there was to get the floor cut as close to the walls and through the doorways as we possibly could. And then when we set the base trim down on top of the floor, we had a perfect transition, a seamless transition that didn't, we didn't have to undercut any of the door jams or any of that nonsense. Once they set the doors, the floor was 100% complete ahead of time. There was no undercutting doors to slide flooring under doors or shoe molding on to hide cracks between the floor and the wall and the base trim. That's, again, always install 100% of your flooring, your solid surface flooring before trim, and you're going to make your job that much easier. And then after that, the painters come in. You'll be doing your painting after the trim, if you're going to do it the professional way, the way that we're doing it here. And then the final phase will be the punch-out work, which is the final electric, the finish plumbing, and then, closet-made shelving and recessed light trim rings and grates on air conditioning and things of that nature. All right, and that's normally a 2-day job for us. Okay, so I know I'm rushing through this part 2. It's nowhere near as long as part 1 of this series on this particular basement, but there's not quite as much to talk about in part 2 as there was in part 1. In part 1, we got from the beginning of the job, from the layout, all the way through up until the drywall. And really, that's probably more than 80% of your project, okay? Once the drywall's hung, and again, we don't hang our own drywall anymore, we sub that out, but once the drywall's hung, trimming your basement out and painting it and then doing the punch-out work is much less work, generally speaking, much less work than the first phase, getting from an unfinished basement all the way up to the drywall phase. So what we'll do is we'll bring the camera down probably just one more time, and I'll show you the finished product. I'll show you the bruise sink installed, the finished bathroom, all the doors put back on. We still got a banister over here that we have to stain and poly, and there's a couple small things that we can talk about in the final video. So I'll be back down here probably Friday, or maybe I'll wait until the following Monday when it's 100% done, and we'll come back down and we'll recap on everything for part 2 of this video series, and we'll close this job out officially either Friday or Monday. So I'll see you back here then. Okay guys, just got back to this job here this morning. This should be the final day. I talked to my brother this morning. He said today or maybe a half day on Monday, but regardless, we're almost out of here. So let's go down and take a look at the punch-out work, the final day's worth of work down here. We're doing our final, trim rings, outlet switches, towel bars. I think we're setting the toilet today. There might be a shower door that needs put on, but all the final stuff's going in today. And if we don't get it all done today, we'll certainly have it all done by half day on Monday. It's Friday here. So let's take the camera down and see what the guys are up to. Let's go in and see what they got left here. All right, good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we got my brother in here hooking up the sub panel box here. You almost done there, bro?
Yep. Just got to finish this and put a 100 amp breaker up in a main.
And then we're ready to go?
Yep.
Very good. All right, so we're sewing up the final electric. This will be the finished electric. We still got the plumbing on the beverage sink. I guess he's calling that his bruise sink. Still got to hook up this pump that's sitting down inside the sink here and get it all connected over here on the wall. Got to hook up the discharge and the vent line, hot and cold water, P-trap and all that. How you doing, Nate?
Good, Eric.
All right, so the last time we were down here, we saw the painter. He was putting a coat of paint on these doors. We got all the doors put back on here today so that we could get the doorknobs installed and whatnot. Looks like we still have railing to stain. In here, we got our vanity set, faucet installed, and our toilet's bolted down to the floor now. And it's got water in it, so that's flushing.
Oh, yeah.
And the sewage ejector is working and everything.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We've tested our shower. You can see we've got our shower head on there, our shower valve all hooked up, and I guess the shower has also been tested.
Has been tested. Everything's been tested but the vanity. I'm waiting for an extension too.
Okay. Okay, so we still got to hook up the plumbing underneath yet. He's waiting on an extension for the P-trap. Once we get that all hooked up there, then we can test fire that sink. But the ejector's working though, right?
Yes. Fired more than 3 times.
All right, so back in this storage area underneath the stairs, I was told that the sewage ejector is 100%. You can see our 2-inch check valve. We got a 2-inch ball valve, and that's all up and tied into the main sewage line in the house. And they have test fired the sewage ejector 3 times to make sure that it's running right. So that's done. So pretty much back here, utility having to do with the sewage ejector. You can see we've also got some inline shutoffs there that go in and shut the water off to the bathroom itself. So we can control the flow of water into the bathroom from this storage room if we want to service anything in there, remove a toilet, swap out a vanity, whatever. We can kill the water back here in the storage room so we can work in the bathroom without having to shut the water off to the main lines to the house. And it looks like we still got a mirror to put in here and towel bars and all that good stuff in the bathroom. But you can see they've got all the plate covers on, all the outlets. All right, we got an outlet up there high there for a TV that they're going to mount up on the wall. You can see all of our switches are on now. And these all these switches have the dimmer capability, so we can dim the lights in all the different zones. All right, so we put everything on dimmers. So that's all wired in there. Looks like we still got some blank covers we got to put on over there for our coax cable and our HDMI cable there, and we got another one up there on the wall that we got to put on yet. So I think they're out at the store getting that stuff. It's last minute shopping. See, we've got our air conditioning grates on now, as well as how well the camera's picking that up, but we got all of our trim rings on. All right, you can see all of our trim rings have been installed, and all the finished bulbs are in, and all of our air conditioning grates are installed. So all the sealing work's done. Nate's going around now and he's putting the doorknobs on. And we got about 6 of them to do. Inside this play closet here, we still have a piece of closet made to put in there. Still got to get the shelf installed in there. So it looks like they got the rest of today in here and probably a half day or so Monday to wrap it up 100%. Okay guys, one more time. I wasn't going to stop back down, but they're telling me everything's done except for some paint touch up here. So let's go in and take a look at the almost final product here and see how things are turning out here. Okay, let's get some lights on here. Okay, now she's starting to look finished. I understand there's some railing that still needs stained and a few other odds and ends, but for the most part it's done. So let's take a look at this finished product here. Okay, so I'm seeing some little yellow tags here. These are notes to the painter. Got a couple of touch-ups up there above the tub. Another sticky note up there. Looks like we still need a plate cover here. So there's got to be some small items that still need done. All right. But they got the shower curtain rod on. It looks like they got the rope hook on there. And we've got some towel bars set here. All right. So all the accessories are on, the towel ring and whatnot. Looks like they moved the light up. Because I can see the original patch there where the light was too low. So they must have went with a taller mirror, and because of that they had to raise the vanity light up a little. So a little bit of work here in the bathroom, paint-wise, patch-wise. Out here in the main area, still got the steps that need to be finished, and it looks like the railing and the spindle still need a coat of paint and stain. You can see all the outlet covers are on. It really looks sharp. I really do like this dark contrast, this greenish color that they used here. with the white trim and the white doors. It really makes the wall color pop. And we did do white ceilings everywhere, which we normally always do. But I do like a darker wall color with the white trim. I really like this Lifeproof floor. It looks fantastic. It's a really large room. Okay, up front there you can see we've got the center channel and the two left and right channels put in the wall where the homeowner requested them. And up in the ceiling up there you can see we've got the round in-ceiling speakers. We've got a right rear and a left rear. Alright, so all of our structural wiring's in. You can see the speaker wires coming out of it over there with the HDMI cable. They're going to be sitting in your stereo rack over here with all the equipment in it. So everything goes back to that location from the TV and all the speakers. The tail end of all the wires right over there in that corner for the stereo rack. Alright, we did get our little sink put in down here. And we do have our laundry tray pump underneath there. Everything's plumbed and trapped underneath there. And with these types of pumps right here, which you can buy at Home Depot, they permit you to put a sink anywhere you want in the basement. So 1.5-inch discharge, 2-inch vent line. But that's all hooked up and ready to go. And it looks like the boys were using it here. That's all working good. And again, we got our little closet here finished with our pump in it in there and our radon. We've been following that 45-degree angle wall since the very beginning of the job, since we put the lines on the floor. And by now you probably know what's inside this double door right here. This is our furnace area back in here. And we did finally get our return air line hooked up from the return trunk to our vent on the outside of the wall over here. We'll take a walk around here and point that out to you right up there. We did have that disconnected to the very end of the job because we didn't want to be pulling all the dust back in through there. That's the return air back into the furnace. Do have a light back here. We did get our sub panel all hooked up. Yeah, that was our little 100 amp sub panel with our 100 amp service cable coming in and all of our different lines coming in for all of our lighting and outlets and brew outlets that we had installed for the homeowner's brew system. He's going to be brewing beer down here, and you can see that we pretty much filled that panel up with everything that we had to do down here. We definitely needed that down here. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 home runs going into there. So definitely needed this sub panel. We've got one of our removable access panels right here, and inside of here is going to be the radon meter so that they can check the radon, make sure it's operating properly. And these fancier looking outlets right here are our 240 volt special outlets that we wired for him to plug his brew machines into. I guess they call it foundry machines. I believe that's what they're called. In any event, he's going to have a table here, and the brew machines are going to be on top of the table, and those are special outlets just for the plug that's on those brew machines. And we got our windows all boxed out nice. Okay, these are solid 3/4 inch pine with the colonial casing, as opposed to drywall returns that a lot of people do. I don't like drywall returns. I like the real deal. Real wood. They can sit plants in here. They can use it as a shelf. Whatever they want to use that space for. It just makes a nice, deep, beautiful window well. Same with our doors. Again, we've got the 3/4 inch pine with the matching casing on our doors, our exterior doors. Makes for a real nice entry. Finished half wall. Again, that has a 3/4 inch pine cap on it. And it has the 2 1/4 inch casing underneath, an apron underneath with the overhang. Again, this makes a nice little shelf to sit things on. There's some more sticky notes, some more patchwork. So the painters have about a half day here. We're going to have to come down and do a little sanding, patching, and painting. You check out this cat door that we put in right here. This is an interesting one. The kitty can walk right through the wall and get into that space underneath these stairs where our litter box is, and that will be right underneath here. We've been talking about this entrance underneath the staircase since we started the layout of this job. And back here we got a switch. And there's the other side of that entrance for the cat. They're going to have the litter box right underneath here. Back in here again was our sewage ejector, our vent for our bathroom fan, and also the vent coming in for the air conditioning in the bathroom, all back here. All finished off, all insulated. Alright, this whole area is insulated from the rest of the basement because this is a cold area because it's unfinished. And this was the flooring that they used. This was the Lifeproof Flooring. And there was the color right there of this particular box that they got. I really like this color. And this Lifeproof Flooring is really, really good stuff. Holds up to anything. Pets, children, spills, mildew, mold. Any type of traffic you want to throw at it. Stuff lasts. Really durable. Definitely suggested for basements. Made to go over concrete. And it makes a beautiful floor. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this two-part series. I hope you got a ton out of it. It wasn't my goal to teach you how to completely refinish a basement in this two-part series, but it was my goal to get in your head and show you exactly the stages that we go through each and every job, the chronological order of how we go about putting a basement together from A to Z. I wanted you to understand all the different steps so that you didn't end up putting the cart before the horse, which is never a good thing in construction because that normally means wasted time, wasted money, and going backwards to go forwards. And I'm trying to keep you from making those rookie mistakes if I can. So again, if you like this video series, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, it helps out our YouTube channel. And if you haven't subscribed to the Basement Finishing Man YouTube channel yet, please do. I got a lot more good basement videos coming your way. And don't forget to tick that notification bell. That way, every time I put out a new video, you'll get a notification saying it's ready to go and time to watch. So I do appreciate you guys. You're the reason our channel is doing so well. I think we're over like 70,000 subscribers now and close to, I don't know, 17, 18 million views. And you are the reason that I keep making these videos. So again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.